What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 and gaming culture. I am your host and Arena Team Ambassador, Jim Kieran. And real quick, I want to apologize for our, which I'm now breaking everything in the process of apologizing. So we had a bit of a power outage. So yeah, unfortunately it happens. There's not much I can do about that. But we have a new guest today, so make sure you guys grab your controllers, crack open a Mountain Dew, and prepare to get your game on. Let's go. I accidentally touched the thing when I shouldn't have touched the thing.
Don't touch the thing, Juki.
Okay. We're live. We're doing it live again. It's been a morning, you guys. I was talking to Grazlo right before this, and I was like, man, this morning has not stopped. I was not ready for this show. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, my 9-to-5 job required priority this morning, and I've been out of office and got to my computer like 30 minutes before the show started. So I've been like rushing, throwing everything together like, oh, crap, please don't break. And, of course, everything broke. So we have a new panelist for those that are not familiar with our show and you're living under a rock. You should already know Mikkel and Grazlo. If not, go back and rewatch the other episodes. Mikkel's with Sedona. Grazlo's working on Oldor. Boom, brief, quick intros. But we also have Kevin from Arcade to Earn with us today. How are all you guys doing?
Great.
Amazing.
Yeah. Doing great. Yeah.
This is Kevin's first time on the show.
Yeah.
How excited are you, Kevin?
I'm super excited. I'm just afraid of like the secret hazing that's going to go on that like I don't even know what I'm in store for. So yeah, just excited to be here.
It's fine.
We go easy on the new guys. It's okay. You're not singeing. Oh man. Well, I don't know about you guys. It feels like this week has kind of been a little slower on the news cycles, so we don't have like anything kind of stand out to talk about. But what did kind of catch my attention, and I love Magic Eden, you guys. I've met Knock. I've spoken with Knock. I've seen him on Game. I love the Magic Eden guys and what they're working on. But Magic Eden's launching their own multi-chain wallet.
Yes.
Woohoo! I mean, I've already got like 12 freaking wallets. Do I really need another one?
Well, if you can combine all your assets into one, that's not a bad deal. But I need
one wallet to rule them all. That's what I need.
Yes, you do.
You need some kind of technology that exists over the top of all your wallets, like a wallet that links to all the other wallets.
And a wallet of wallets.
The wallet, the head wallet, the top wallet. I don't know.
No. I like Kevin's idea. We're going to call it the wallet.
And it doesn't do anything. It literally doesn't do anything. It's just we're gonna do a pitch deck. We're gonna go to VCs. We're gonna raise like $50 million, and then we're just
I'm already working on it.
Spend a couple years building it, and then we'll go from there, and it'll just be this cool wallet of wallets.
And then we'll acquire somebody that actually built technology that,
Yeah.
That's the roadmap.
And then we'll launch an NFT to go with it. It'll be like a bunch of little wallet designs, bifold, trifold, credit card holder.
Cute little faces.
Yeah,
I love it. Me and Kevin are starting a project. Kevin, I am in.
Look. No, I'm in too. Give me 10 minutes with ChatGPT and I'll have us a white paper.
There you go. Perfect. And then you use DALL-E. From ChatGPT to make all the graphics. And that
is literally how easy it is to raise $50 million in the Web3 space. So for everyone listening, we just gave you the roadmap. You're welcome.
Yeah. I feel like we're almost at a disadvantage when we see this like new tech and everybody's working on really cool stuff. And it's like, it's all great ideas, but we don't have the mainstream consumer and use cases fleshed out yet. And until we have those, it's really hard to build like the products that they're going to use every day. Like wallets. When we release new wallets, the main user here is, like people flipping assets, people, degenning, buying meme coins and stuff like that. So their needs don't necessarily align with like future users. And I think that makes a real problem of like, how do you build a product that appeals to the market today, but also scales to the market of tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm just saying multi-chain wallets aren't nothing new. I'm not necessarily excited about this. I'm not rushing out to create a Magic Eden wallet. However, if they continue to build out and expand upon it to where they do essentially have the one wallet to rule them all, then I could see myself shifting to Magic Eden's wallet very quickly. So I think this is a first step towards something larger. At least that's what I would like to think. And I hope that they are pursuing that route, because that's my biggest thing right now. Like, even just looking at my browser at work, I'm here at work, so I don't have all of my wallets. I have 4 different wallet icons on my browser. And that's not even all of my wallets.
I just got a Phantom wallet, and I freaking love it. I've been trading like Solana shitcoins, NFTs. It's the best. The experience has been. I'm not unpaid promo, but it's so much better.
I do so like Phantom. Lower. I love Phantom a lot. It's just when it comes to logging into websites and stuff, I tend to notice that MetaMask has much wider support. So that's kind of why I'm ride or die for MetaMask for everything except Solana. Solana, it's Phantom all the way.
Yeah. And I use do you guys use the browser feature within Phantom to access the websites? Because I started doing
on
that.
Mobile, I do.
Yeah. So I got the Saga phone. I got the Saga phone. I was actually so funny how I even bought that. I was just on the internet and I saw the price drop and I bought it. And I was like, I actually need another phone to do have one account on a Twitter space and another account on the same one. And I didn't even realize kind of the hype that it was going to, that it was going to get. And then everybody on the arcade team was like, I just went to go buy it and it was sold out. And I was like, I got one. And they're like, Kevin, you're the least trendsetter. You're a trend you're 2 years behind.
You're the dad of our project.
Correct. Look at the shirt. Look at the shirt you wear. It's Night at the Roxbury. 90s.
I love that movie.
It's but yeah, on the Saga phone, I do everything through all the different claims and everything like that. Now that I use the Phantom's browser, it connects with everything pretty well.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. And then been using the bridge feature on that a lot too. So to move money, I'll send money from MetaMask to my ETH wallet on Phantom. Then you just use Phantom to convert from ETH to USDC on Solana. So yeah, I think the cool thing I like about what Magic Eden's doing though is the moving liquidity from a store of value chain, which Bitcoin is, to a hyper momentum platform like Solana is. So think about that. You sell Bitcoin at 43, 45, move into Solana, you do some shitcoin trading, you do some NFTs, Bitcoin drops to 38, you move it back, and you've stacked additional Bitcoin, which I'm sure not everybody's a Bitcoin maxi, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to stack Bitcoin. So that's it makes it easy
for yourself. I'm just a gamer who buys what I need to play games.
There you go.
My Bitcoin is, and that's probably just because we haven't had any good Bitcoin games yet. Somebody somewhere may change my mind one of these days, and then I'm gonna have Bitcoin in my wallet. But for now,
there you go.
Solana, you go. Polygon, Avalanche. Can't forget Avalanche. Sorry, I love you guys.
So how many credit card companies died in the process of Visa and MasterCard and Amex succeeding? Because I feel that's the parallel here. There's all this competition to be the ultimate wallet solution. And inevitably, there probably will be 2 or 3 choices, and they'll connect to everything, right? And everybody else is going to die. So I'm it feels like the evolution is probably the same, right?
Well, it just depends, because I'm looking at Ronin, right, who has a very restricted ecosystem. I highly doubt we're going to see any other wallets other than the Ronin wallet support their network.
But if all the players are in other wallets and players decide, eventually it becomes inevitable, right? And it forces games to participate in that ecosystem if they want access to those players. So
I interact with Ronin, but it is not a daily thing for me. That is... Okay, a new Axie game come out. Let me check this out. Oh, a new game's launching on Ronin. Let me check this out. But outside of that, I am not touching my Ronin wallet. They definitely got to loosen up. I think about the cloud wallets like Wax that don't have an actual application or extension wallet. It is literally all done through browser. And I'm like, good luck with that. There's so many outliers, because it feels like people didn't consider these factors very on in development, and now they're kind of pigeonholing themselves into an exclusive market that long term, I agree with you. I think long term they're either going to be forced to adapt or they're going to be gone like the wind.
Yeah.
As much as we all rag on Apple and their walled garden approach to everything, I think secretly most companies want to be Apple. They want to have a closed ecosystem where they control everything. Games want to have their own marketplace, their own wallet. Ecosystems want to have their own, wallet, their own, like closed garden. And I think that's something that we're going to have to struggle with as companies start to really gain their own traction.
Well, people need to stop looking at Apple. And I'll tell you this right now. Apple almost went under. It's only because of Microsoft Apple still exists today. They actually helped them out of a tough spot, because when they were close to essentially like going really red, Microsoft ended up throwing some money their way because Microsoft did not want a monopoly in the tech market. So I'm just saying it did not actually work for Apple. They had to get external support from other companies to even thrive today. And their biggest saving grace was their mobile devices. They were the first to market with their iPod. Their iPhone was considered revolutionary because they were one of the first smartphones. Them being first is the only reason they still exist. If they had released those products later on and they had to compete with people who got there first, I think Apple wouldn't even exist today.
And but like the point for us too is like, we don't want heavily centralized hubs within, like this is about decentralizing.
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's like, you want decentralization. Then, if you go talk to like a random group of 100 people in a room and, ask them like what a business plan is, I don't know if I want a random group of 100 people deciding how our core technology is built. So it is a double-edged sword, because you want the diversity of ideas. You want, kind of that power and control spread apart. But, when you look at a bell curve of intelligence, I don't know. I don't know if I want the bottom half making those super critical decisions, like how we build security factors into applications and stuff. I mean, you go to the grocery store and like you can't even like move your cart one way without person running into you. I'm like, do I want that person also like having a vote on how we do business? But it is a good mix, and I think with a lot of governance things, like if it's based on tokens or whatever. If you're going to own a bunch of a token in something, like you've probably done research, you probably are intelligent in that matter. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing. And with the wallets, I wonder if it's all just going to disappear behind the scenes like credit card processors do. So like there's Visa, there's MasterCard, there's American Express. But I actually used to work for Chase Bank as a business banker. And they have a whole credit card processing division. So you've got the network, which is like Visa, which is like Ethereum, which is why I started buying Ethereum in the first place, years ago. I just viewed Ethereum as this is the Visa or MasterCard. But then you have the payment processors, and there are hundreds of them. There's probably even thousands of credit card processing.
Still a lot of competition there.
That run the network. And so I'm wondering if like games and wallets and everything, that's all going to be on the back end. That's just B2B, and games and platforms and everything. It's just a Web 2, experience. Just you go on, you click, you do things. And behind the scenes, you got, 40 different hamsters, going through the wallets and making and everything work. So it's just going to be interesting to see how much we keep as a wallet and how much the wallet becomes just an infrastructure.
I can agree with that. Yeah. So real quick, we got Mr. Console, Fruity Loops, and Rod in the house. What's up? Fruity Loops says, "Marry me, Mikhail."
Okay.
So real quick question for the audience. What do you guys think about the multi-chain Magic Eden wallet? Do you think this is a step towards something larger, or you kind of just fading it for now? Because I'm in the fading camp. Like, I'm sorry, I love Magic Eden. I love the guys that I've interacted with over there, but I've got too many wallets as is. So unless you give me something, none of these other
one
wallets,
airdrop,
I'll jump in.
Yeah, we all want airdrops.
I don't care about airdrops. I actually, believe it or not, I got the notification from Solana or from Phantom yesterday. Oh, one of your wallets qualifies for a jump airdrop, and I'm like, what the hell is JUP? And I was like, no, I don't.
Dude, you need to
That's
get
how you know he's just a true gamer. So what we're gonna do? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna manage his wallets for him, and we're just gonna take a cut of half of everything that gets dropped to him. There's a lot of people like him, right? I mean, there's a lot of people like him that enjoy the blockchain side of gaming, and it's more just like a necessary step. But like maybe that's a whole other service. You delegate your wallet in some regards to like a concierge agency that, you have a contract with, they're FBI checked out, everything good there. But yeah, I mean, think about it, like on the Juke one. I mean, if you claimed yesterday 1,200, I mean, I think today it's at like 54 cents. I mean, that's like $550.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can play a lot of games with $550. I mean, you can go buy a brand new.
It's the
Xbox
same thing with the Solana phone though. Like they were like, oh, look at all these airdrops. And I'm like, I don't like Android. I used it for 7 years. I don't like Android. They're like, but the phone is basically free. They were like,
free money.
Well, it's not free money because you have to buy the phone. And from my understanding, the airdrops basically offset the cost of the phone. And I was like, well, that's cool. I'm breaking even. I was like, but you got to pay me to go back to Android. That's the only way. You're going to have to I need profit in this situation. I'm sorry, but I left Android and went to iPhone for a reason, and I have loved it ever since. And I will not.
Even though Apple was going to fail, if it wasn't for Microsoft, you still jumped over to Apple?
Look, I said this on Graslow's Space yesterday, and I'll say it here publicly. Good products do not always come from good companies.
That's fair. That's fair.
I hate Apple. I legitimately hate Apple as a company.
This is like an Apple flooding space now.
I can't deny their phone's good,
Yeah, no, their stuff is super high quality, and I'm on the opposite camp. So I have invested in Apple stock and own a decent amount since I was like, I don't even know, 15, something like that. Wow. But I don't use any Apple products. I don't know why. I like the PC, Android. I don't know. I just like that feel of things. I had an iPhone for like 1 year, and I was just like, I don't know. It just feels like
a green bubble texture.
Yeah, I don't know. It
was
too put together. It was just like there wasn't enough that could break. I guess I guess like the fact that it couldn't break and I couldn't fix it made me just feel like I wasn't in control or something. I don't know.
He got bored. He likes to break things.
Yeah, I get it.
I like things that break. I like getting rugged on spaces. That's why I have my Android phone.
Obscure error messages and things like that.
Try to jailbreak your iPhone for the first time. It's a good way to break things.
Oh yeah.
I remember the first time I tried to jailbreak and I basically bricked my phone. I was like, crap. And then I tried the same thing on Android and messed up the bootloader and basically bricked my Android. And I was like, oh, so they're not so different after all.
Oh my God.
I started on Apple. I was there for a couple years. Then I hated the fact that, like he said, it felt like I didn't have control over my device. So I switched to Google and went the Android route. And Android was like, now I have too much control. Like, it's so easy to break things. It's
just never happy.
No. So I went back to Apple, and it's just like everything works, and their ecosystem all plays together. Like I got the Apple Watch, I have a MacBook, and everything just works together.
A key finder because I lose my keys all the time.
No, that needs to be stuck to my phone or my wallet. Those are the ones I lose. My keys are fine.
They have those.
Yeah.
They have all of those. You can track anything now.
Oh,
children.
Man.
Good time.
In other news, we also have Yuga Labs teaming up with Faraway Games to work on, I guess, yet another game from Yuga Labs. Somebody tell me what's going on over there. What is going on with Yuga?
This seems to be related to the Dookie Dash thing, right?
Yeah, something with the sewer. There's some sewer path.
Because it's going to be mobile. It's going to be free to play.
Yeah.
I don't think this is. Let's see.
Seemed like
did they do the Dookie Dash?
I think so.
So I know they previously announced Dookie Dash was going to be opened up free to play. I think this announcement was pushing more the mobile side as well, which I think was new.
Yeah, I don't think it was mobile before.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think that's a good move, but Dookie Dash is just not for me. Like it does not bring me into their ecosystem. If you're already in their ecosystem, it gives you something to do. If you're there just for the airdrops, it's kind of a gamification of that, or earning or whatever. But aside from that, I don't know that you're going to bring in new people because they like the game so much.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Depends on the incentives.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to have something that's not incentive based, right? I mean, it can be incentive based, but you just got to make it to where people, have fun losing. That's kind of the thing. Like Did you have fun even though you lost? And I don't think games need to not have incentive. I think everything should have. I mean, I really see gaming going the way of everything, if you want it to be, has an opportunity to win and a chance of loss or risk of loss. So chance to win, risk of loss. And that just feeling is really what people are going for. When you're like 10 years old, the game itself provides that, like the excitement of the game of just, oh, I lost my life, I did this. But when you're like 25, 35, 45, 55 years old, like, you know that game outcome has no consequence on your life. You'll play for 6 hours and be like, I beat these 10 levels, but I kind of feel like empty. Like, I kind of feel like I just beat a level that like no one really cares about but me. But you take that same thing and it's like, if you had a chance to win $100 or you put $5 in for a chance to win 1,000, at the end of it, you feel like you actually lost, which weird enough with humans, like we actually don't mind defeat.
No.
Like it's kind of okay because then it makes winning feel better.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, dude, I love that.
So I'm going to use World of Warcraft here because everybody that knows me knows I'm a big WoW head. So I'm a Mythic Raider. Mythic is the hardest difficulty in the entire game, which means you're going to die a lot. Last week we had, I think it was around 30 complete wipes. And just so you're aware, these groups are 20 people. So 20 people died like 30 plus times.
Jeez.
And we still are going at it. We're having fun because we're hanging out with our friends. We're making progress. You know, last week we got them down to like 40% health. This week we got them down to 4. So we're seeing that small improvement, and that keeps us coming back because we know we're doing better. We're having fun. We're enjoying it. When it comes to Web3 games, though, a lot of them are missing that key element that it's still fun even when I'm losing. And the biggest draw for the majority is that earning system. They're only playing to earn. And the way that comes off to me as a gamer is if the only time I'm having fun is when I'm winning money, that tells me you have to pay me to play your game. That is not a good outward perception.
So, and, you know, I did want to add, so there's a thread out there, if you haven't seen it, it's in the last week. Andrew Chen from A16Z posted this thread about what he's learned from different like incentive programs to reward users and how you get really bad metrics from there. You know, like when you look at your early users of any like product, especially like a tech product, you draw these conclusions of the lifetime customer value, the cost to acquire these users. And then once you feel like you have good metrics, then you say, okay, now let's really boost this by adding an incentive program. You know, some like, you know, you get some money for doing something, or a loyalty program or rewards program, affiliate program. But the problem is the type of user that those typically appeal to is a totally different user than what you were getting before. Yeah. They're no longer there for your product. They're there for the incentive. And whenever you turn that off or you know, while you're tracking that, your LTV is different, you know, like they're not there to actually engage with your game. They're there to, you know, earn, like you said. And so that becomes a real problem. And I think that's something that every Web3 game is going to need to think about. And I think, you know, Kevin's right on, like risk and risk-based rewards, that really kind of mitigates that because you may be there like mentally thinking I'm there because I can earn, but you're kind of hooked on this loop of, you know, there's risk involved. And even if you lose, you feel like you're still engaged, you're still having fun, you still want to compete again.
We all want to gamble. We're all degens at heart.
Right? I literally have learned in the past 3 weeks that everybody just gambles all day. Like I don't know what rock I was hiding under, but when I talk to people about like what they do as their hobbies and stuff like that, like every single person is like, I gamble. And it's not necessarily like a degenerate gambling problem. It just makes things exciting. Like it just makes it exciting. So it's pretty cool.
We need that risk in life. Like it's just, otherwise it's so boring. If you always play it safe, you know, and then gambling just fills that need maybe for some people. Well, everything else is like a nice, easy life. You know, they follow the rules. They're like sleepwalking through life or whatever, but they have to get that rush, you know?
Yep.
But I think a good example of Yuga missing the mark, look at Heavy Metal, right? Do you think that game is fun to lose?
Everybody
is that game fun at all? Actually, I'm going to pose that question. Is
not
that game
from what I hear
fun?
from our research team? Not from what I hear from our research team at Arcade that's playing some of our assets and stuff. no. The response is not, I'm having fun. The response is like,
it's like dreadful, right?
I'm glad this is actually a job and I'm not doing this in my personal life.
That's my point, is like a lot of these games are so focused on these earnings and the ownership. You're missing the point of gaming. It is an entertainment media. I don't go to the movies and then leave the movie and think about, oh man, I wish I could get my time back. I wish I could profit off of going to the movie. What about reading books?
Some movies you do want your time back.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. It depends on how bad it is. But books are the same way. They're an entertainment medium, right? So I don't read a book and then think, how can I profit off of this? Now, unless I'm reading a book about making profit, that's a different story.
Right.
But
that's
you know, like half the books out there.
Entertainment
Half the books out there. How to make money from real estate, how to make money from social media, how to make money from
But that's my point, is like entertainment has never been about earning. It's about fun and enjoyment and escapism. There's so many different elements and reasons that people enjoy entertainment media. But when it comes to gaming, if I wanted to earn, I can throw together a wager match. 1v1 me, run it mid, bruh. Like I don't need Web3 to make money. I've played in multiple tournaments. I've played in DreamHack. I played in the MechWarrior Online World Championships in 2016. There are other avenues to go. Now, there are people that will argue, well, this allows other less skilled people to make money. And that's true, but how much? Because I grinded a play to earn game for a month and made $5. In the USA, that's not even enough to buy me a cup of coffee.
No. It's not.
There is a much more efficient method to owning my time than Web3 gaming. That's why I'm here for the tech. And I believe there are some really cool use cases that have not been fully explored yet, because everyone's like, we're early. Yes, we're early to Web3, but we're not early to gaming. Gaming has been around very long, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel to make a good product. And that'll actually tie us into the next discussion, which is our second indie game of 2024 blew up. Not quite as big as the first one. If you guys weren't here for last week's discussion, we talked about Power World. Obviously, they completely blew every metric out of the water. Super popular. They're now even getting backing from Microsoft on the Xbox version. So good job on them. But a little bit kind of overshadowed by Power World was a new game called Enshrouded. If you guys haven't heard about this one, they already sold over 1 million copies in the first week as well. Indie games are coming in and showing that you do not need $100 million in 10 years to make a good game. And that's where I feel like Web3 is struggling right now, is we have so many of these games that have raised tens of millions of dollars years ago. And right now they barely even have a playable demo in many cases. And the ones that are playable, it's like they missed the entire point of gaming and they focused on financial earnings. So what are we doing wrong? Where can we improve here? What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I'll say like one thing that I see a lot in this space, and it's really like an unfortunate take, I think, but a lot of people are saying like we have too many games. You know, there's too many people making games, there's too much money being spent on games, and that gamers have too many choices. I think that's really a bad take, because we keep seeing these indie games come out and show that the demand for new games, for new content, for entertainment, you know, new ways to do things, like that is higher than ever. Like we have more gamers than ever. Gamers have more free time than ever. The market is still ripe for, you know, creating new content. But yeah, I think Enshrouded, like I've been watching their videos and stuff and kind of excited for it for months. So props to them. I think it looks like a great game. I can't wait to play it.
Also, we got a comment from the audience real quick. Dougie Hype in the audience asks, why is Grazla looking so good today?
Ooh, spicy. Get a room, you two.
So you two both now have like engagement proposal offers. I'm still the only one without a.
You're taken. So you mentioned your wife, so they're being respectful.
I am taken, but it still feels good to be wanted, you know. Yeah. But
somebody send a nice message to Kevin.
That's too funny. But just to copy on what you said about like content, like when's the last time you heard someone say, I don't want any good new movies, or I don't want any new TV shows, or I don't want any new music? Like gaming, just like you said, gaming is entertainment, and people are always going to want more of it. As soon as you beat a game, you're not like mad that you beat that game. You're like, I beat it. It was a couple weeks of fun. I spent $50, $100. I mean, I honestly think if you boil it down to the cost per hour, there's not an more efficient mode of entertainment than gaming. I mean, my brother used to play Madden. I mean, in college, you know, he would spend $60 on that game and play it for hundreds of hours. I mean, you're literally paying like 10 cents an hour of entertainment. You go see a movie, $15 for 2 hours. You go watch a sports game. You go, you know, out to a nice dinner, whatever. I mean, gaming is such an efficient form of entertainment for the user, for capital. And I think that, like, yeah, on the Web3 side, we're not tapping into like the entertainment side. Even if your whole thing is about earnings, just make it captivating. Like, just add some, like we say,
the game that people will spend hundreds of hours in.
Correct.
But I
because
think that's, have you, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, have you heard that in Web 2, like some of these games like GTA 6 or whatever are thinking about like charging per hour, like changing to hourly models because it's so disproportionate, like what they're able to earn, you know, like, and maybe they'll have a lifetime pass and it'll be expensive, but like, is our model correct? Is our model even correct? If a bad game, you know, costs as much as a really good game, that's not, you know, like, how do we price fairly and per hour?
Expansion packs.
I was about to say DLCs. See, this is the thing. I am actually not against microtransactions in any form or fashion. The problem
people get frustrated by them, though. Well, there's a lot of people who really hate them.
There's a good justification for it. I spent $100 on the new Call of Duty, getting the biggest, baddest edition. You think I would have access to everything available in the game for that price? No. Then I have to turn around and drop $20 per freaking skin bundle. Plus, there's the battle pass. Plus, there's the new map packs. Plus this. Plus,
you don't really own it.
And together, all that is less expensive than like a lot of other things you would go do for fun. I think that's kind of the funny thing is, like, say you're $250 all in for that. That's still like not bad for something that you're going to spend like 3 or 4 nights a week playing, like hanging out with buddies. Like, I don't know. I think a stat that I looked at was that, like, right now, at least in the US, the average gamer is spending $22 a month on gaming. That is low.
Yeah, that's
because we're all poor.
I really think it's not even that. I think it's that it's so efficient to game. I mean, think about that. That's $250 a year. If you buy 5 PlayStation titles, that's like a new game every like 2 months. Like,
well, you got to keep in mind so that metric is a little skewed these days because we do have even more extreme value services such as Game Pass. You got PlayStation's PS Now. You got NVIDIA GeForce Now. We have all these streaming and subscription services available. So that instead of spending $60 to $120 buying 1 to 2 games a month, I could spend $12 a month and get access to this entire library from people. So that is also skewing it. But I would say that there is a bit of a disproportion here because, yes, $250 for Call of Duty. Yeah, I can probably justify that. I'll get hundreds of hours out of it, whatever. I pay $140 a year for World of Warcraft. I get way more than 140 hours of game time out of that game, I assure you. So I look at Web3, though, and there's a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect. And I love Gala games. Don't get me wrong. I love their games to death, but I'm going to use them as an example here as bad ecosystem. You go spend $2,000 to buy a freaking skin in a Gala game, and then you start playing it, and then after maybe an hour or two, you're like, yep, that's the game. That's the problem, is the value here in Web3 for the price is not there. And I think that's why free mints are starting to really become the meta, because people understand, hey, we're going to reward our people who showed up early. They were here. If the floor price skyrockets, that's on the community. That's the
Have you seen that
that's
gas
the player economy.
I think it's like Gas Wars games. It was made by the founders of. I mean, they're killing it, right? And they use the free mint model. Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it's getting really hard to buy Web3 assets whenever I'm paying $200-$300, and then I try the game and it's you know. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just they're not always for me. Whereas I can go spend $12 a month on Game Pass and try every new major release in Web 2, right? And I can sometimes find ones that will give me that value and exceed it exponentially. So I don't know. Like I said, I love the tech. I love Web3. I do love the tech, but it is so hard for me to enjoy gaming right now. And it's even worse as a content creator because people will come to you, hey, come try our game, make some content. Okay, well, what do I need to do? Oh, just go buy an asset. You want me to pay to play your game to make content for you?
Hard pass.
That's one reason I'm so bullish on like free to play. Like I think that Web3 enhances free to play.
Yeah.
I don't think token gating makes sense.
Well, here's the thing. So we talk about MMOs being a fantastic genre for Web3, and I 100% agree with that. Like I said, Big Wow Head, they basically already have a pseudo Web3 system in place. They've got their own token. They've got cash out options within their own ecosystem. Of course, you can't extract direct to fiat. It's all store credit, but still there's a pseudo play to earn system. But looking at Power World and Enshrouded, I started thinking, where is our Web3 survival crafting game? Imagine you need 100 lumber to finish building your house. Well, I can either sit there and farm it for a few hours myself, or what if I just paid somebody for it?
Yep.
Like that is probably an even better use case in terms of Web3 ecosystem. And I think Power World and Enshrouded are two case studies that maybe the Web3 developers should probably start looking at. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that when we talk to different game developers through Arcade, and we're saying like, okay, this is how your game would fit in our mission pool concept. Really, I do think a lot of people are missing this whole aspect of, if you have 10,000 people playing your game total, probably 9,000 or 9,500 are going to play and consume. And then you should have like 500 to 1,000 people that are producing assets for other people. So your grinders will sit there and like chop wood and store up wood and all these kind of things. And then when you have the people that come in that don't want to do that, that's the economy. I mean, just like any real world economy. And in one game that has this built, I mean, they need the user volume to get there, but Geno Pets is one game. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one, but it's a game where it's like a walk around with your pet, take care of it, give it toys, that kind of stuff.
Tamagotchi style.
Correct.
And take care of my little.
Yeah, and that's one side of it. But then the other side is a crafting side. So you can go in and you can make toys, you can make food, you can do all that stuff, and then there's that relationship. And yeah, I mean, really all Web3 game developers need to do is go pick up an Econ 101 book and just open about how an economy works. And I don't mean this mean. I just mean
that's so real.
They don't have to invent anything new. Like there's already economies that work, and no economy is perfect. I mean, look at who we have running the US economy. And like sometimes I'm surprised that like when I go turn the lights on, they work, but they do. You know what I mean? Like it just all works because you're not trying to
We're spicy with the takes today.
Right? I mean, that's what games really need to do. And I think some of the bigger games that have yet to launch, I mean, like Illuvium is building that way. They have the whole overworld exploration, and then the land is going to produce the resources that people need. But it's yet to come out and yet to see it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you really have to do anything that crazy. I mean, you can just think of a game that people are going to like, and then you can just then say, okay, well, how do I use real world economics to make it so that you've got some people buying, some people selling? I don't know. I just think everybody's trying to create this like perfect tokenomic system with like all these different stuff, and it's like, just look at
they're like, because we're Web3, we have to do everything totally different. Like we can't apply anything from Web2 because they suck. Like no,
it's not even Web2. It's not even Web2. It's like Stone Age. It's like Stone Age. You're not even trying to steal from other tech. You're trying to steal from the Flintstones that are like, hey, I'm going to go dig out of the quarry. I'm going to take that rock. I'm going to sell it to someone that needs to build a house because the person building the house doesn't want to go dig the stone out of the quarry. And like, you could really just build any video game like that with two components to it. And now you have sustainability because it's not people earning from like a token distribution. It's people providing value to the other side. Like one company that we work with is Seedon Network, and they're building different games. They actually just acquired Rainy Studios and matchmaking. And by providing matchmaking services and having people in the game, that is a service to the game. Like if you only have a few players playing, then you don't get the right matchups. It's frustrating and people don't play. But like Clash of Clans, for example, was so fun because their matchmaking was good enough to where like, yes, you competed against some people good, but every once in a while, like I got a person thrown in front of me that like had no defenses. They were chock full of gold, and I just raided them. And it was so fun. And, they lost a portion of their stuff, but you need that balance. You need like was on a Twitter space the other day, and they were like, guys, pro gamers don't only want to play against pro gamers. Sometimes they want to play against someone that they can just, kill ratio, 10-0. And so
when you're in a bad mood and you just want to go like destroy somebody to make
exactly. So I volunteered to be the bad gamer on that. I'm really bad at like first person shooters and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, if you're a pro gamer and you just want to do like a one-on-one lobby with me and we stream it, like I am more than happy to just get my head blown off and provide some entertainment. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that games can use and allow their users to contribute to, their game economy. And I think sometimes we just make it too complicated because we're trying to like revolutionize something, which economic gaming kind of already is a revolution in of itself. We don't need to kind of do the other stuff.
So
But
yes and no.
Not really.
So yes and no. And the reason I say this, and I'm going to use this as an example because I 100% agree with your take, but I do have one developer I'm going to call out here as possibly already having this nailed down. CCP Games. For those not familiar with it, they do EVE Online, and EVE Online's entire economy is already player driven, and they have experience with balancing the game, seeing how it impacts the economy, and adjusting on the fly. They're coming to Web3. They have already publicly stated they are building something in Web3. It's called Project Awakening. They had a play test a few weeks ago. I heard nothing but good things from those that did tell me that they played it. They couldn't tell me anything about it because they're under NDA, but I heard excellent things about it. They were also ex-EVE Online players. Yep. So a company that already has the player economy experience, they already know how to make games, moving over to this space and trying to put it together, I think if anyone's going to get it right on the first try, it's going to be them.
Yeah. I agree.
It's exciting to hear.
So, and not only that,
they're doing things right by having like, a closed alpha, testing with real gamers. They're not like starting with an airdrop or starting with selling an asset.
I want an airdrop. I love my airdrop. Stop fudding airdrops.
That's the funny thing about their Web3 game. I don't know anything about the Web3 elements. They have 100% made it about the game and about the gameplay. I have not heard anything about tokens being introduced. I have not heard anything about NFTs or mint. They are right now heads down building on the game itself, and I'm assuming the rest of the Web3 elements will be released as they're ready. My only concern with CCP, because as much as I love them and I've been in their ecosystem forever, I'm a huge EVE Online player. I had like 7 accounts. I played Dust 514 on PS4. I even have their EVE Valkyrie. So as somebody that's familiar with them, I'm also familiar with the fact that they like to try new things, and when it doesn't work, they shut it down. So that is my only concern with this, is if they try the Web3 thing, they cannot get it off the ground, then I'm afraid that they're gonna pull the plug. And I only say this because I also know they're working on another Web2 game at the same time, and they're building an FPS again. I mentioned Dust 514 a minute ago. Well, now they have a new one that they're trying to make because they never ported the Dust 514 to any modern console. Like they released it at the end of the PS4 and just never released it on anything else. So, I think it was the PS3. Anyway, you get my point. They never ported it. The game did not continue on. I really hope that this is something that they can stick the landing, find a community that really wants to be a part of this, because I'm going to be jumping in day one. I'll tell you that right now. And I really hope that they don't just give up and throw in the towel, because this is not a space that is super forgiving, and you're going to have a lot of feedback at the beginning. I guarantee you, all the big names.
My airdrop. That's all people are going to say. Where's my airdrop?
And if that happens, I'm going to be one of the ones in the Discord being like, hey guys, great game. I'm enjoying it. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, they had a huge funding round. I remember, I think it was maybe like a year and a half ago, and everybody was like, raised $40 million just for this version of it. And so, again, really, really excited just to see how it comes out, and then how much like spectator interest is going to come in. That's what I think is like we talked about, like people gambling. I'm just, I really think that people that gamble on regular sports are going to start taking some of that capital and putting it into economic gaming, because now it's not 100% the efforts of people you have no control over. You can decide, hey, I'm going to buy these assets to have someone play, or I'm going to support this player, and we're going to do that. So I don't know, man. I think there's just a lot of capital that's going to come to gaming because just like we said, like people want to be entertained. I mean, sometimes like for the Super Bowl, like I don't sports bet that often, but like on the Super Bowl, I always put money on it because if it's not one of my teams, like it's kind of not that interesting. Like, yeah, it's the Super Bowl or whatever. But if I put like $10 on who's going to score first and like $10 on who's going to be up at half and that, like I watch the whole game.
Yeah.
I crack open more beers. I eat more, I eat more apps. I do all that.
You consume better. You're a better consumer.
Exactly.
I can't bet on the Super Bowl because I only watch it for the halftime show. So knowing me, I'd wake up the next day with the text, "Hey, you owe me $10,000." Oh shit! Well, blocked.
So yeah, and I think it's like the micro bettors. That's what like kind of like micro transactions. I think it's going to be, just a lot of people dripping like a couple bucks into things that is going to just bring a lot of outside.
Like a horse race track betting. People can just bet on the outcomes of matches and we can build a whole economy around that and put a lot of money into the ecosystem. I like the way you think, Kevin.
I'm just saying we've seen headlines from EVE Online about real world value for some of their fights and losses. And I feel like that can translate to Web3 pretty easily. Like I really think if anybody knows how to do this and implement it in a fashion that is balanced, it's consumer friendly, I think it's going to be these guys. Now, I'm not saying other people aren't already working on it. Everybody's trying to figure out how this all goes together. But most of these games, as far as I'm aware, had no in-game player-driven economy experience. They're all basing on real world, like you were saying. But people are already unhappy with real-world economies. So you kind of have to find a way to make it a bit more friendly because people don't want the top 1% staying at the top 1% all the time, the entire history of the game, because that does happen, even in EVE Online right now. So
well, yeah, and shameless plug for arcade here. That's not what I'm here to do, but
we're here for it.
It really is, and I'll talk more about the concept. It really is marrying up the people that have the money to get the assets with the people that can play them, and so I think there's this approach where it's going to be you're going to get those people that normally go and spend $5-10 grand at the sports book. They're going to own the top assets and they're going to contract with players to play those assets for them. And then you can also have further engagement in that because the opportunity or to participate in that activity can then be decentralized as well. So like the arcade platform kind of puts that all together in mission pools, but it really is it's really just making it so that like, yes, there's pay to win, but think about if you're not the pro gamer, think if you're like a mid-level player that plays for fun, maybe win some awards here and there. But what if then there was a way that you could also get a piece of the top gaming team in that game so that when there was a tournament or when there was a leaderboard, like you actually got excited for that top person to win. And that's what I kind of think is like the gambling side of things is like, when you watch any type of sports thing, like you're cheering for that person to win because you want a share of the earnings. So same thing in gaming, having a platform where you as a regular gamer or, just spectator of gaming can put $10 into something and now have a vested interest to cheer and support that gamer, that asset holder. I think that's going to make what you're saying, like the top 1% are like, yeah, there's always going to be this divide between the people that have the capital to get the assets. But I think with gaming, we can really make it so that people, the everyday gamer can be a part of that experience. And even if they don't own all of it and they're not making as much as the 1% are doing it, it doesn't matter. It's about participation. It's about saying like, hey, I'm glad that guy won 10 grand from it, but I still won $10 from it. And to me, that $10 was just as cool because $10 buys, my next 2 coffees or whatever that I didn't have before. So I think it's just going to be fun to bring all these groups together.
And Kevin, thank you for the setup. This is a good opportunity for me to show rental platforms because that's a great way to get into games on a budget, such as ReNFT. If you're not working with ReNFT, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You do.
No, I'm actually serious. Like we've seen it with Big Time's ecosystem. They did everything internal, of course. They have their own market and everything. But rentals are actually showing to be very, very popular for their ecosystem across the board. I'm just saying, and I've been saying it in a few different spaces, but like World of Warcraft again. Sorry, guys. it's my go-to because it's the most comparable to Web3. Yeah. But every week we're rating, and Blizzard locks the gear to my character. I can't trade it, can't sell it, can't do nothing other than give it to an NPC or destroy it, which sucks. Well, what if I have a new player that comes in one week and they want to join us, but they don't have the gear? Well, if I could rent it to them or loan it or trade it or something like that, they can jump in and they don't have to worry about waiting weeks and farming a bajillion dungeons like the rest of us did. It's an accessibility tool.
Yep.
NFT rentals. Jump on it.
Yep. Exactly. And we actually like at Arcade love rental systems because we can actually use our financial backing to rent things that even then other players might not be able to afford to rent. We can actually rent high level things from whales and structured deals and rent them from them. So the whales or the investment groups get their monthly income from the asset, and then we kind of take that a step further, and then we rent the asset, but then we employ the gamers to then go and do it. So we even kind of take that friction out of there. But yeah, I mean, again, just like the real world, if I'm going to go build a water park in my backyard, I'm going to go rent a Bobcat. I'm going to rent a backhoe. I'm going to rent an auger, a driller, all those kind of things. I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to spend $40,000 on all the equipment. I'm going to spend $1,000 renting them for the time that I need them. And then you're done. And I think a lot of these, I think a lot of gaming platforms can learn from like Big Time and stuff like that. Like, even though theirs was internal, just renting is I mean, it's an economics 101 thing. You're not, reinventing. I'm sure in the Flintstones, like, you rented your dinosaur before you bought one to test it, just if you wanted it, driving you around or whatever.
But the thing is, you can rent these assets so you can earn, and you can use those earnings from renting to eventually buy your own too. So win-win.
It's essentially like the Axie Infinity scholarship model, but just a little, looser.
Well, don't add the unlimited supply, and don't have the earnings just come from the game.
Right.
All right. Before we turn this into a rag on Axie Space.
No.
We've been fudding all day long. It's a fun
true.
I actually missed like the big Axie pump at the very beginning. I mean, I came into GameFi probably right as it peaked and started coming down, but there's a lot you can learn from it. And again, like, why not take 92% of something and just fix the other 8%? Like, they really just had a couple small problems that I think with some of their new stuff, they're even kind of figuring out, and they raised a war chest of capital. So, hopefully that. So yeah, I mean, you don't always throw the baby out with the bathwater, and, don't go and change everything about something. Like, oh, we just got to tweak this one little thing. Well, cool. Just make sure that breeding is, just make sure that breeding
off, right?
Just make sure that breeding is capped, or just make it so that to enter, these tournaments, you have to spend some SLP or whatever, so that, you're taking 1,000 in and only paying out 500. But people are okay because they each only put in 5, and it's the chance, again, it's the chance of winning. I'm putting in 5 tokens with a chance to win 500, but the total pool put in 1,000. So we're taking 500 out every time. Again, real world doing it for thousands of years.
Yeah, real quick. Does anybody have a hard stop, or can we keep going?
I do have a hard stop. I got to jump to our Twitter space that we do on the ACS channel, trends. And if it was just me palling around today, but we've got some cool guests over there. But yeah, I mean, we're actually looking at moving that space, because I was like, I'm going to check out this Block Sauce crew, because if I start to jive with them a little bit, and maybe if I slip them some money on the back end, maybe they'll let me come in a time or two again.
Actually, that's why I was asking if there's a hard stop. I wanted to kind of allot our time. We're going to have to unfortunately skip the Saga and Netmarble partnership. However, from the sounds of it sounds like Netmarble, one of the largest mobile publishers, is going to be moving and working with Saga. So we might see some Netmarble D-apps on the Solana phone. I don't know what's going to happen here. But that aside, we got some viewer comments I want to touch on real quick. Rod says, Kevin's on fire with the takes. We need to make you a permanent panelist. There you go. No money required.
Oh, there's no love.
No money required.
You shouldn't have told him that, Jinky. We need to make, come on. This is an economy. We gotta.
We also have Fruity Loops that was telling me to be honest about Gala Games. Actually, I was being honest. Some of their games are dope. I just hate their ecosystem. Superior, for example, I actually did enjoy a lot. I played a Web 2 version called Gunfire Reborn, and when I found Superior, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, it fits in this genre. So I actually do like that. The Walking Dead was okay, not my cup of tea, but it was actually a fairly decent game. I haven't played all their games, though, so I was being actually pretty genuine there. And we also have Fruity Loops. Web 3 is brimming with wallets, mints, and airdrops. Let's on board Web 2, they say, Blueface smiling. So I'll tell you this right now. I work in IT. Last week, I had somebody complain that their computer wasn't turning on. They forgot to turn on the monitor. If people can figure out how to turn on the monitor, I'm just saying we're a long way from mass adoption. We are a long way from mass adoption.
That is literally too funny.
I had to help somebody sign into their email this morning. People who can't even sign into their email or don't know how to use 2FA. Like, these are everyday problems that I am seeing in the IT world. And these are your everyday users.
Advanced. Yeah, like we're technical, and it's still kind of hard for us sometimes, right? Like, you're right.
Like that old Saturday Night Live, I date myself so often, but Saturday Night Live episode where it was the IT repair guy, and he would go in, he'd be like, oh, did you check? Move over. Like, I mean, that's just, and my older brother works in IT. He's a network engineer, and yeah, I mean, sometimes when I'll be like, I'm trying to get this working, and he's like, I wish I was just there, because I would just totally do that to you and just make you feel real dumb. But
it's so frustrating trying to it's like you're so far ahead. You're just like, let's not.
All right. Well, before we wrap everything up, does anybody have any final thoughts, closing remarks?
Just love you.
No, just thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Just thanks for having me. It was a great time. Got to give props to my boy Jorge, that he and I worked together on the arcade side, and it's just really cool to see what he's gone out and done for the space. I think anytime any of us does something good in this space at all, it just helps everybody else. So, just thanks, Jorge, for getting all this going. Thanks to you all for being on here. Great to see some familiar faces, and just great show. Thanks for having me on.
Mikhail, Grazlo, any final thoughts?
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to see Kevin again.
It's my first time actually meeting Kevin, I'm pretty sure. So
I've had a call with Kevin a long time ago, I think, but it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a minute.
All right, well, we already held him over his space, so that's going to be a wrap for us, folks. This was another great episode of The Block Sauce, but before we come to a close, I wanted to say thank you, Kevin, Mikhail, Grazlo, all of our other panelists that join us every week for taking the time to do this. We appreciate you and love your face, but we have, of course, couldn't done it without all our amazing viewers and supporters as well. Your engagement and passion fuel our drive to do this week after week. I'm trying to break away from the script, you guys. Like, I'm trying to go from memory. It doesn't really work, so we'll work on it. We'll keep working on it. But remember, the sauce never stops flowing. Stay connected with us on social media. Share your thoughts and suggest future gaming and Web3 topics for us to tackle. Your voice does matter here. That's going to be it for us today, though, sauce enthusiasts. Join us next time for another thrilling episode of The Block Sauce, where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Also, follow us on Twitter. Make sure you're following Arcade to Earn as well. Maybe Sedona and Oldor. I mean, just throw out all these Twitters.
There you go.
And keep gaming in the exciting realm of Web3. Thank you, guys, and have a good one.
Awesome.
Bye.